Putting your government decision maker hat on, what's your immediate reaction to the comment of, well, the federal decision makers, they don't really look at our website. They're not using search engine. That's not how we get our business. Our website's really just not that important. What as a, as a govy would you say to that?
I would say that they might want to rethink that. That while they might have experienced that in certain areas of federal government, which I'm surprised at, I can tell you from my experiences that was not the case. Just as an example, in putting out an opportunity for one of my prior agencies, we actually looked at every company's websites who's responded to the request for information just to make sure that they did have the experience and especially the niche experience that we were looking for. And it was interesting in that after reviewing all the websites and doing that market research on those companies that did respond to the request for information, we found none that had that niche expertise. So we ended up actually calling some of the proposers and asking them specifically if they had certain expertise. But that was just an example of where if your potential client in federal government doesn't have the time to really do a lot of research on behalf of your company, you might be missing out on opportunities if that program office only has time to research just the websites and not seeing that specific expertise on websites may have cost a potential proposer that opportunity.
So the proposers in that particular circumstance were really fortunate that you and your team had the time to actually go out and look rather than just receive information.
Right. Yes. We made a point to. It was a quality organization. We wanted a quality product. We needed a quality product for the taxpayers. And so we did do our due diligence and take that time to do our research. Yeah.
Another thing I've heard some feedback is in looking at proposals, going to the websites and not just necessarily seeing the exact service, talent, product that you were looking for, but if the message that you were given through the other stages of getting to this point, what you heard was different than what's on the website. That disconnect. What I've heard is that can just sort of cause a freeze up and for the decision makers to go, wait, I'm not sure I trust this anymore.
Right. Make sure, from my perspective, and also what I've heard from contracting officers, as a federal contractor, make sure that your website does represent the work you do. So if you say that you do cybersecurity, make sure your website exemplifies that you have that experience and sell cybersecurity services. So yes, that would be a red flag. And I have not, but I've heard through others that contracting officers, when they don't see that connection, that does sort of ruin that trust that they do have that performance.